Hey everybody, and welcome to the February hrcyed update video. This is going to be coming to you quite late since it is the end of April when I'm filming this. It should go up tonight, so it should still be there before May starts. But yeah, we're running behind, far behind, so I definitely have to make that up a little bit. But so yeah, without any further ado, let's just go into it. This is just like a short, snappy video going over my progress over the month of February. If you want any insight on my feelings about these books, then go to my February wrap-up, because that is where I talk about the actual content of the book and, you know, like my feelings about it. So when we went into February, we were this far into the hrcyed challenge. I will say that this isn't fully representative because some challenges I haven't actually added to this overview, so yeah, we're just ignoring that for a little bit longer. But so let's see if maybe I finished another challenge in the month of February. I don't actually think that that is the case, but who knows. So the first challenge in which I have made some progress throughout this month is in the last 10 years challenge, in which I counted a book for the 2026 year. I counted She Made Herself a Monster by, yeah, I don't know, you'll have to, that'll be on the screen on the cover that I will have put in here. So that is the first one. I will say this challenge I think is almost complete at that point as well, right? The only thing I still need to do is 2019, which I'm starting to think is probably going to be something that I just have to like intentionally read, because I don't know, it still hasn't happened over all of these months, and so that makes me think that probably I'll just have to actually intentionally pick a 2019 book at some point to make sure that I get this challenge done, because it doesn't seem to be happening naturally. Then we move on to the Heritage Month prompts, for which February is Black American History Month, and so for that one I chose to read Luster by Raven Leilani. I read quite a fair few books by black authors, but this is the one that I'm counting for this particular prompt, mainly guided by the fact that for some others I already had two other prompts for which I could count, and so this is the one for which I was like, this one I only know one other place where it can fit in, so this can slide into my Black History Month. It was an interesting read, but yeah, as I said, more about that in my February wrap-up, but I'm not entirely sure that I fully enjoyed this one. Then I also made a swap in the Spooky Creatures prompts, because I do think that I was already finished, maybe? No, I was not finished, but I definitely had something already in for sea creatures or mer people or whatever, however it is referred to within that challenge, and I had, what is the name of that book? The first Richard Swan book in his new series. I'm not going to be coming up with a name apparently, but I'll have the cover on the screen. I had that book in for that, but I actually had it in for two particular prompts in the creature thingy, but I ended up removing one of it, so I have replaced that with The Deep by River Solomon, because The Deep by River Solomon definitely has mer people, as it is a book about black slaves who are thrown overboard as they are making the journey to the Americas, and then out of those a new sort of like mer people race is created, and I actually will have to look at whether, yeah, I know what I did with that. So I did this swap in order to be able to use the other book for another prompt, so we'll have to get back to you guys about that later within the video, and then I'll actually be able to tell you the name of that book, because apparently at the moment I cannot think of that at all. Yeah, Grave Empire, I see it here now. That book. But so yes, this has gone into that, and that means we only have one, I think, left to go within the Spooky Creatures before that challenge can also be completed. Then something that we did make quite a lot of progress in within the month of February is the bigger Queer Alphabet challenge, and that is because I was specifically choosing black books by authors or about queerness. So the first one that I have here is for gay representation. We have The Macabre by Kosoko Jackson, which is a horror in which we have a male-male romance, clearly. Then I also used The Deep by River Solomon for intersex, which is the case with these mer people. And then I also counted Luster by Raven Leilani for the polyamory representation. So yeah, we got 3 further books into this particular challenge, which is very nice because I was almost nowhere with that challenge before the month, and I guess I need another one of these months in which I'm like fully focused on it, in order to make sure that I get like a little bit further in this challenge and I actually get to complete it before I'm out of time. And then I also read a book for the new release prompt. So I read a February release by reading She Made Herself a Monster, which I talked about before already within this video. February is also the month in which I finally started to think about the subgenre challenge. So basically this challenge is a challenge in which you have to choose a genre and read 6 books from these different and read 6 books from 6 different subgenres of that genre. So obviously I'm going to choose fantasy because I read the most fantasy, so I've decided to slot in The Blackfire Blade for adventure fantasy. This is not a book I read in the month of February, but I've read it previously within the time period of hrcyed, so I'm finally slotting it in. Then I'm also reading Grave Empire by Richard Swan as a dark fantasy or grimdark fantasy. So this is the book that we've cleared up previously within this video by placing the deep into the mer people slot, so that meant that I could use Grave Empire for a second prompt, and so I've placed it into this subgenre one. Then I also, in the month of February itself, read The Astral Library by Kate Quinn, which I'm counting for portal fantasy within this particular challenge. So we've got 3 out of the 6 subgenres done, so that's immediately a nice progression. Of course, as indicated, 2 out of these 3 I didn't actually read in the month of February, it's just that I had not yet really taken the effort to look into fantasy and its potential subgenres to try and figure out which books could count for it. So yeah, I have 3 out of the 6 done. I definitely, at this point in time, can already tell you that I kind of need to look again at the list of potential subgenres for fantasy to see how I'm gonna complete this challenge. And yeah, with that, we have gone through the progress in the month of February. I will definitely say that in February there are quite a few books that I've read that have gone nowhere for hrcyed, you know. And I guess that is just natural. We are getting to the end of the hrcyed 1-year time period. So it's just gonna get more and more difficult for you to naturally be able to slot something in to a place. And so we're getting to the point where I'm like, yeah, I am going to have to actually dedicate myself to hrcyed if I want to complete it, and that's the question. Do I want it enough? You know, there are certain challenges within hrcyed that just don't interest me all that much. For example, the TBR challenge one, where you do like a TBR game and you read those books. Like, yeah, that would be, I would have to dedicate like a month or maybe half a month or something to that. Do I really want to do that? The Make a Quote one, I do definitely want to do because I just bought a book for it, I guess. But also like the Q's recommendation, it's just a lot of looking into Q's recommendations. I guess I can look at books that people have logged for that, and potentially I've actually already read a book that somebody has logged for that, and then I can count it as well for that, I guess. But yeah, I just, for me, this one is definitely one of those low-key things. And I don't know whether I will have some sort of like last minute sprint excitement to try and finish it the way that I have for r/fantasy in March, for example. So we'll just have to see whether that happens or not. But on the other hand, I don't want my June to be taken over by hrcyed the way that my March was for r/fantasy. So just letting you know already that you can kind of expect me to probably fail, I guess, at this point in time, because of the fact that I've just said that I'm not all that interested in reading dedicatedly to some of these remaining prompts. So I don't know whether it will happen. But so yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and see you guys for the next one. Bye!